afternoon. Happy Sunday. I'm so glad you're here today. Welcome everyone to You Choose Sundays. Today I'm talking to my friend Bryana Bre Williams, and welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. Number one, because I want people to know you because you are a person to know. But secondly, because when we get together, we just have such really great conversations. Even just our pre-conversation before going live has been so uplifting for me that I just can't wait to share you with the world.
Aww,
So,
I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate the invitation and the conversation.
Listen, and you come from a line of dynamic women. People will remember that I had your sister Berhinda on last year.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Okay.
and then you and I, before I even started doing a live show, before I really started doing video at all, because I was super self-conscious about it, you and I had a really great conversation about mental health. It's the first YouTube video I ever put up.
That was
that one. So I'm really excited.
Look at you now.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yes.
I know, right?
Right.
I'm still a mess. I'm getting myself together.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I love it. It's admirable, the consistency.
So I just want to, okay, I'm being consistent. That's what I'm doing.
I love
So welcome everybody. Whether you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on LinkedIn, one of these days I'm gonna get my YouTube channel together and go live there. I'm not there yet. But if you're watching, just let us know where you're watching from. I will see some of the comments. I don't see all of them, but I always come back to them. So I always like to start by telling people how I know the guests that I'm speaking with. And so I want to do that really quickly. So you and I met because we have a mutual friend, my dear friend, your friend also, Amaris Ruffin.
Yes.
And you did a beautiful, iconic photo shoot of like Hollywood and classic art, but you did this shoot with all Black models.
Yeah.
And so Amaris was Bo Derek, and it just was beautiful. And so yeah, it was great. So I went to that. And then we met again, really for the first time is where we really actually met, was over at Amaris's part, her little shindig, and she got some friends together. And then we just vibed when we were there. And so we've been vibing ever since. And so again, I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the connection and I appreciate the opportunities too.
Yeah, for sure. So today, we're going to talk about self-acceptance, which, I think is something that's really important to talk about, but we're also going to talk about how you get there. And one of the ways you get there is by overcoming all of the negative thoughts that you have, whether those thoughts came in your own mind, or whether else someone else, maybe somebody close to you, planted them there. So tell me, what has inspired you to talk about this subject in particular, that is self-acceptance and really moving from a place of negativity into a place of love?
It's really been a personal journey. I don't want to sound cliche, but that's really what it's been. It's been a personal journey for me. Just being a woman, in general, and how we learn to, find, our own identity, who we are, just basically just our own my own personal journey, personal development, and which led me into, the work that I do now. But I just always been kind of like conscious of feelings because I've been a sensitive, personality ever since I can remember. So me being sensitive and learning how things might affect me, and then kind of watching how things might affect others, I kind of noticed it was a difference there. I was like, okay, I'm kind of different here. And I kind of started to become more conscious of how my own perception started to affect the decisions I started to make externally in my life. And then being reflected back to that, I was able to assess like, okay, am I where I want to be? Am I not where I want to be? What do I need to do to get to where I want to be? So.
Yeah. So when you realized, I don't know what age you realized how sensitive you were. When you realized that, did you see it as a negative thing, something that needed to be fixed?
Initially, I did. Yeah, because I was kind of taught that it was something wrong with me. Like when I started therapy early on as a child, and I was
Okay.
put into therapy by my parents.
Okay.
So it's when that happened at that age, I'm thinking something's wrong with me. It's like that
Yeah.
was the messaging. Not nothing like they did it deliberately or anything like that.
Right.
They're trying to help because they're
Right.
trying to understand my disposition. I was really shy. I was quiet. I was sensitive. They were trying like, what's going on? And they like a lot of people didn't think I even knew how to talk until I was like maybe 4.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah. And that's like been a going thing throughout my years. My family talks about that. Like, you were so shy and you didn't like to talk to anybody but the family, the immediate family. Like, I would be myself with them, but like just my social skills weren't up to par to society. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just became really conscious early on, and it wasn't like something that I sought after. It was just kind of like it just happened.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So have you continued on with therapy as an adult?
Yes. Now it's a
And
choice.
what has that been like for you?
I'm sorry. The last part. What has it?
What has it been like for you as you talk about like sort of moving from negative thoughts? And we'll talk about maybe some ways that you were able to do that and you are able to do that now, so that you can like be in the moment and find the moment and feel the moment and be fine with whatever that moment is.
Yeah.
How did you get to that place?
Therapy first and foremost. I feel like that's been a major influence of my consciousness today. And I'm still growing, but where I am today is definitely growth from where I was. And that's due to therapy. And then just maturity, emotional maturity.
Okay.
Learning how to understand that I'm a feeling based person. I'm a feeler, and I think that these feelings are God given. It's not a bad thing to feel,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad. Like identifying that these feelings were God given to me, but learning to navigate when it's hindering me or if it's like propelling me into the direction I want to go. But either way, it's there, and it's something I feel like I needed to start honoring and not judge myself on or push away.
Yeah.
So therapy has been helpful for me for that, as well as my spiritual evolution too. So that it all has been interconnected with helping me to become a little bit more balanced, I feel like, than what I was.
Okay. So one thing that you said that really stood out to me was like feeling the feelings.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of times, especially if it's a negative thought,
Yeah.
we push it down, but it doesn't go away. It's gonna
Exactly.
come up. It's gonna come out.
Emotional
And so,
bypassing.
like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So say what you called it again.
Emotional bypassing.
Okay. So
Because
how are you moving from that? How are you so people will say, well, you have to think about what you're thinking about. But I think even doing that takes practice. Because our thoughts are automatic a lot. We're not thinking about what we're thinking about, and you have to train yourself to do that. I want to talk about that for a second, but I also want to bring that back to self-acceptance, because I think even doing that, we can be hypercritical of ourselves. And then what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that I'm doing this all the time? So how do you feel those feelings without getting lost in them and not treat yourself really badly about what you're thinking about in the moment? Are there some things that you do that sort of help you get out of that, negative down spiral?
Yeah, I think being aware that I'm spiraling is like number one, because it was a point in time where I felt like I was just like I had no control over it. Like it was just, automatic for me to keep, going down, down, down. So until I became conscious that, okay, I hate to say choose the higher thought, but in a sense it's a choice to a certain degree, but my choice comes from a space of, okay, well, what how is this serving me? At some
Mhm.
point, like how is this serving me? And
Yeah.
learning that I have things in motion based off of the momentum that I started to build when I'm not in that darker space. So it's like
Yeah.
I can't show up here because I'm here. So what do I need to do to get back? Because I know I worked so hard to be here. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
my own worth. Like I deserve to be here. So why am I going to allow and give this the power to hinder me from getting here? But at the same time, I'm human, so I'm going to allow myself to feel these feelings, but I'm not going to allow it to block me in a way where it's hindering where I feel like God wants me to be.
I like that. So tell me, what are some guardrails you put in place then? Because one of the things you just said through therapy is that you learned how to um, identify when you're spiraling out of control, but not everybody recognizes that.
Yeah.
So do you have some triggers that you know right away? Do you have some guardrails that you put in place so that that's a warning sign for you? Here I go, I'm doing it. What does that look like for you?
Typically,
And
like
I know it'll look different for everyone.
for me, like what does my like depression look like that?
Well, yeah.
Or
So like when you know when you know you're getting ready to go down that hole and here we go, we're
yeah,
traveling. How do you pull yourself back so that you
that,
don't
okay.
fall in?
Yeah. So
And do you have some things in place so
yeah,
that you don't do that?
I don't not do it, to
Okay.
be honest.
That's
I
real.
don't not do it. But I don't stay there as long. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So I might be, had a stressful day where it's like I allowed this stress to combine because it really is a biological thing that happens, a physiological thing that happens when that stress hormone just continues to accumulate over time, especially if I'm not meditating. So
Mhm.
I know for a fact that meditation helps metabolize that stress hormone, like chemically, like scientifically, that's a fact. It helps metabolize that stress hormone. So
Okay.
when I feel myself be like I can physically feel it sometimes, whether it's like a tightness in my chest or just like weird
Mhm.
symptoms, physical symptoms, I know my stress is like I'm too on this side. I need to balance
Yeah.
it out. So I would stop whatever I'm doing. Like when I really feel like overwhelmed, I stop what I'm doing and I might do some deep breathing right then and there. I might just
Mhm.
really like just stop, like, okay, what's gonna happen if I stop this task? Like, what am I gonna miss out on? Why does it have to be done right now? So I
Yeah.
just make myself unplug
Yeah.
and not feel guilty about it. Like I might have to talk myself through it though. Like, nothing is gonna happen. I have to walk myself through it and then just really legit unplug in that moment if I'm feeling like overwhelmed or stressed. And if I'm feeling like sad, typically I just kind of allow myself to feel because I'm feeling sad for a reason. So I just kind
Mhm.
of like allow myself to feel those feelings and, try to build myself up, do some type of form of self-care, whether it's like lighting a candle or just listening to some uh like meditative music therapy, like sound therapy is really, really, it
Yeah.
helps
That
me.
energy music,
Yeah,
the name is escaping me right now, but you can listen to these sound waves, like these
yes,
frequencies,
yep,
healing tones. That's what they're
yes,
called.
yep.
Healing tones. I
I
go to
sit
sleep sometimes listening to
Me
healing.
too. Me too. Me too. I have it just going, like if I feel like I'm going there and just allow myself to
Mhm.
just kind of like because I'm just really I don't know, I'm in my head a lot. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's okay to be in your head sometimes. And I learned that's why I'm into this creative zone sometimes too, because I
Mhm.
get heady and I get like I start to have fantasies almost, because those fantasies are like my ideas that I have, and I kind of allow myself to go there sometimes
Mhm.
rather than feel like it's something wrong with me. So it's just
So
really
is that what you talk about when you said earlier when just you and I were talking, you talked about thought swapping.
yeah,
And I said, can you bring up what thought swapping is? Like, can you
yes,
explain how you do that? Because when we get into some things that you can do, because I know that you said therapy has helped you, and you're going to give us 2 or 3 things that people can do to move from that negative space. Tell me what thought swapping is.
So thought swapping is exactly what it sounds like. So you have a thought that comes up that is like a negative thought. So, for example, I think we used this example earlier where I made a mistake, and I might be prone to beat myself up if I make a mistake. Like, you're always making mistakes. You're not paying attention. And then it kind of feeds into why you might, have gotten fired, or you might have, been reprimanded some type of way because you made a mistake. It's like your mind goes there, instead of your mind going there, you stop it. You stop yourself and say, okay, I made a mistake. Stop there and say, okay, I'm human. Humans make mistakes.
Yep.
Nothing is lost. What's the worst that can happen? You got to continue to like go there. You just continue to refute it. So you just kind of come up with these refutal statements. The refutal statement to that is that I'm human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Move on.
Period.
Yeah. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's the refutal statement. That's thought swapping, as opposed to the thoughts that might have came to you more naturally. Those fear-based thoughts, like beating yourself up, those self-critical thoughts. So that's basically, in summary, like an example of what thought swapping is. So swapping out that negative thought with a more positive refutal statement.
And so when you do that over time, I think then maybe your mind starts to think about the positive things. So tell me, I'm going to ask folks who are watching who would like to answer. Tell me, what are some positive things that you really love and enjoy about yourself? Because when we talk about self-acceptance, I think I don't think that's as easy to do as it is to point out all of the things that you don't like about yourself. I think it's much harder for us to say, like, this is something that I really like about myself. So I'm going to put that up. And I want people to name a quality that they really love about themselves. But I'm asking you, what are some qualities, especially because you've been doing some work for a long time now? You continue to do the work. You continue to build yourself up instead of tearing yourself down. So tell me, what are some things that you really love about yourself? Because I think what happens is sometimes we feel guilty about saying things good about ourselves, especially people who are sensitive or people who would consider themselves empaths, because we worry about being we don't want to be puffed up.
Yeah.
I worry about that. I don't want to seem conceited.
Yeah.
We have a hard time about pointing out things about ourselves that we like.
Yeah.
But you're doing some work. So I know you're not going to be like that.
Right.
You're going to show us.
We were just talking about this earlier, and I'm all like, what do I say?
What are some things about yourself that you really like? And I'm asking those of you who are watching too, what are some things about yourself that you really like? And this could be a hard question for people because we can think right in a second. Tell me something you don't like about yourself. I can rattle off 20 things right. But if you ask me what I really like about myself, I have to think about it. So I want everybody to think about it. And then I want you to comment on something that you like about yourself. Bryana, you go first.
One thing that I like about myself is the fact that I am a feeler. I can feel my feelings and I can empathize with others. I think that is a strength now, as opposed to, at one point I felt like it was like a weakness, like I'm so sensitive, too sensitive, but that's one thing that I really thrive off of, connecting with people now. Where it's a choice, as opposed to where before I felt like I was just kind of like a slave to these feelings and like, I don't know why I feel these feelings. But now being conscious and aware and knowing that I can put a boundary, not like I'm more empowered with it. I think it's a quality now that I really enjoy, and I don't have any shame of being vulnerable now. I'm a vulnerable person. I'm comfortable with being transparent because I think we all are on our journey, and nobody's journey is, I don't feel like anybody's journey is worth being ashamed of, and we're human. So I'm comfortable with just being transparent and open with what I've gone through, because I know I'm not the only one that's gone through these things. And it's not a measure of what I've gone through was more, traumatic than others. It doesn't matter. It affects everyone's affected differently. So I think that's another quality too, where, I try to understand where people are. I try not to judge. I try to just, seek understanding.
I like that. So that's what self-acceptance looks like. Like I know I have these things that I'm working on, but that's okay because I'm gonna always have stuff that I'm working
Always.
on right now too. I'm working on something
Yeah.
right now, this very instant. I told you like how my night went last night and how like, you know, I just was so embarrassed about like something that happened last night that it really like put me beyond. I'm working on something, you know?
Yeah.
But self-acceptance for me looks like, all right, man,
This is
listen,
where you are.
you got something that people don't understand that happens
Yeah.
to you when there are certain things in the environment happen and it takes you beyond.
Yeah.
I could have like, I was embarrassed, I was embarrassed by it, but I didn't just, I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. I can't help it.
Yeah. And at one
Working on
point,
something.
would you have held yourself in that space of embarrassment a little longer at one point?
Listen,
Yeah.
my phobia was so bad at one point that something happened at my old job and I refused to go to work.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed by it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's growth. And it's like accepting the process, Acceptance isn't like accepting it as is. Acceptance, I feel like it can be accepting the process of.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like accepting where you're at right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna put up a comment because Deirdre said, I treasure the fact that I have a servant's heart.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of.
It is.
And I heard what you said too, Bre, when you said that being sensitive to you sometimes felt like a weakness.
Yeah.
I could see how we also do that to ourselves. So that Deirdre said, like, no, this is something that's good about me. I have a servant's heart. I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, that is.
When I think about something that I really love about myself, I think that I have the ability to make people feel very comfortable.
You do.
So, but you and I talked about how like sometimes that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, right.
Because then like people are drawn to you and it takes a lot of energy. Yes. And it takes a lot of energy to be that kind of person for others, especially when you're going through your own stuff.
Yes. Yep.
So I think also self-acceptance is, like you said, knowing what you need to be healthy and making sure that you put up boundaries.
Yes. Yep.
So I have another one here. Well, I put up another one. Can you give us 2 or 3 things we can do when we start going down that negative path? How do we turn it around?
I think it's situational. Like sometimes, like I said, if I'm feeling sad about something, I let myself feel those feelings for a minute, and if I again start to feel like this space is hindering me from doing things I know I need to be doing, or is blocking me in some sort, then I gotta kind of like get in front of it, kind of get more assertive and aggressive with refuting it. So I think feeling it is fine, but then not wallowing is another. So to not wallow.
Girl, I'm a wallower. Let me wallow. But I'm trying not to be that way because it's not good for you.
It's not. It's really not. But we all have our it all depends on what it is. We all have our triggers. What one person might not be affected in that way, the next might. And that's okay, I feel like. But I do feel like being conscious that, okay, this is something that I probably need to work on. Is another. And then when you decide that you want to work on it, some things that work for me would be, again, doing like the refutal statements, or meditation, or talking to friends, laughing. Like I love to laugh. Like I like to have a good time. Laughing is always, watching something silly like on YouTube, getting out, getting some air. But I know sometimes that depression though, like it can kind of keep you stuck, by yourself, or feeling stuck. You don't want to be bothered. So I know that could be a fight for some people, but definitely getting out, getting air, getting sun, like that can do wonders to your mood.
I think those are all really good.
Yeah.
I like getting outside. I like being purposeful about finding humor in your life.
Yeah.
Connecting with people who you know you can find joy in. And just for me, like when I'm feeling super stressed, I'm gonna tell you, I go to sleep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I'm like a toddler. Like I need a nap.
Right.
But I know what I need to recharge,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I need rest.
Yeah.
We have a couple more comments, so I'm going to put a couple up. And here's our friend Amaris. Hi, Amaris. Amarin says, I like her resourcefulness. She is super resourceful too. I
Yes.
believe I can find a solution in nearly every situation. And girl, can't you? She does. Amaris is not a person, and we've known each other for such a long time now, but she's not a person who sees this negative thing and then stays there.
Yeah.
Not that she doesn't feel sadness, not that she doesn't, not that it doesn't have its moment in her life. But what I know about you, Amaris, is that she is resilient.
Yeah.
She really is. And Amaris was my boss once upon a time, and she's younger than me, quite younger than me. But I always admired that quality about her, is that part of effective leadership is being able to move forward.
Adaptable.
And I just always really admired that about her. So I'm glad you love that about yourself, Amaris, because I love that about you.
Yes.
Yay, Amaris. And then we have another one, Joy. Joy says, I can almost always see both sides of a divisive issue. Yeah, or divisive issue.
Yeah.
Has served me well in coaching and consulting. I get called when people are at odds to help straighten it out.
Yeah. Yes. That's definitely a gift.
That is a gift. Because let me tell you something. I can't always see both sides. I'll be like,
right is right, wrong is wrong.
So that you know that about yourself, that you can appreciate that about yourself, that you know that's a gift, Joy. Your mother and father named you correctly. They
right.
did. That's a joy for some people to have someone in their lives that can be that person for them.
And unbiased probably too, not feeling like you're going to be judged.
Yes.
Yes. People to talk to.
Yes. Yeah. Because I don't know if I'm always that person. But guess what? I know that about myself.
Right.
Yes. So I want to talk to you, Bre, because we're talking about how we feel personally about, self-acceptance, self-love, getting rid of that negative thought, being able to move on when we've had those negative thoughts. And I think that that's really important for what you do professionally, because you are a photographer. And so you see women in a lot of vulnerable situations because you do boudoir photography as well as lifestyle. And I'm sure for you, you not only see it show up in their bodies when you're trying to take really great pictures, but you also hear it come out of their mouths, like the most negative things that women and men, I'm sure, can say about themselves. So how do you help steer them? Because we did a photo shoot recently, and I know you heard it coming out of my own mouth, because I was saying some stuff that I didn't like about myself. And you were just getting me together. You were getting me together. You were like, nope. And I loved that about you, because I think that's really important, because if we stay in that place, it's even the most beautiful images, right? It shows up.
Yeah.
You can see when someone doesn't feel good in their photos because their personality isn't showing.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you help women do, especially with those more intimate photos that you take? How do you help them move from a place of negativity to a place of loving where they are in the body they're in, so that they can really enjoy this experience? Because I think taking photos is an experience.
Yeah, it is, especially the boudoir experience. Maybe one day you'll do it.
We're not there yet, but we did talk about it.
Maybe one day.
I know Nikki's like, do it, girl, do it.
Right. But typically, like, that conversation I have with potential clients, like during the consult call, because I'll go over like the technicalities, package rates and stuff like that. But I also ask them, what is their reason why they wanted to do something like this type of photography? And then I let them know why I do this type of photography too. So it's kind of like I'm already developing a rapport and setting the tone when they come into the studio. So of course, not of course, but a lot of women and clients that I work with, this is their first time doing a boudoir session, this type of photography. So they're nervous out the gate. But I do like to drive home the mission behind it and remind them that, me being a woman, myself, I understand the ebbs and flows of having a healthy relationship with myself and my own body.
Yeah.
And how, us as women, we go through so many changes. So it's like our feelings can go up and down about ourselves, but you kind of want to get to a point where you really just like, okay, accepting the process. We were just talking about that earlier, like accepting yourself in the process of it all. And I just kind of have this conversation. So it's not like, out of left field when they come in front of me, and I try to create a space where they feel that, they feel comfortable. The makeup artist that I work with, like my primary makeup artist that I work with, which is a dear friend of mine, Joy, she's very intentional about enhancing a woman's beauty. So she doesn't transform a woman. She doesn't try to make someone else look like, even if they sit in their chair and say, I want you to make me look like her. Like, she's like, well, what I can do is make you look like you. I can enhance you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we and I feel like that's why we connect so well together when we partner up and are in the same space, because it's about you. It's about you really feeling good about you in this moment, at least. At least when you're here, I want you to feel good about yourself. When you leave, okay, I understand. But when you here, you're going to feel good about yourself. And I'm going to capture you in a way where you feel good about yourself too, where you can see what I see. I see somebody beautiful, and just like when she fixes your face, puts your makeup on or whatever. I fix your face, but puts the makeup on, just
when she beat that face. I know what you meant.
You know what I mean? Like, this is you. Like, and I try to show them images too through the session so they can see. I'm like, this is you. This is you. And then they be like, that is me. Like, yes, it is you. Like that. This is who you are. And this essence that you're possessing right now, like that's in you every day. You know what I mean? Outside of this. And I feel like that confidence is just nothing more than the energy, that you're connecting with. And I feel like it's a divine energy too, So I just try to drive home that message, compliment them, genuinely compliment them, because every client I ever work with is beautiful. Their spirit is beautiful. They all have just beautiful attributes. So I just compliment them and put them at ease and let them know that they're in good hands. Like, that's how I try to, at least create a space where they feel relaxed.
Yeah. And you do that so well, because I was nervous about my photo shoot. Remember? Because I was like, I didn't get my makeup done. This is how my face is. And you were like, okay, it's good.
And naturally beautiful. Naturally beautiful.
Thank you. But you know how I was feeling when I came into that.
Yeah.
But you just put me at ease. And this is not the first photo shoot I've done. I will tell you what, I've been very fortunate in working with women who have taken my picture in the past, who have always done a very good job of just making me feel so comfortable when I don't always feel comfortable, and so I want to thank you for that, because you do that so naturally well.
Thank you.
The complimenting didn't feel patronizing at all. It felt very genuine. And then so it made the experience really nice. And even in looking at my photos, I was like, okay, girl.
Right.
Why do I be talking about myself like this?
Exactly. Do you see you? This is you.
Yeah. So that was cool. So tell me, how do you move forward? I know, because not everybody is going to do therapy. I'm so glad that you brought up therapy, because I know that there will be some people who just never do it.
Yeah.
They just won't do it. They won't do it. Let me say to those people, consider it anyway. Because although you may have people who love you in your life, who cherish you and who want to be there for you, it is difficult being someone's therapist when you are not equipped to
your friend.
I don't even pick up my phone sometimes. I'm not even kidding. Like, for my friends, I always pick up the phone. For my close friends, for my besties, like I can count them on one hand, on one finger, 3 knuckles. I pick up the phone for them no matter what, because they do that for me. But we talked about having to put some boundaries in place, because Sometimes people who I don't even know very well, like, what? Listen, I
Yeah.
don't need all of that because I'm going through some stuff. And to call me and not even ask me about how I'm feeling,
Right.
you can dump is not cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people probably don't even realize they're doing that.
Yeah.
Seek professional
Yeah.
advice from a therapist, because your friends and family, they're going through their own stuff and they get burned out too. And it's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that first, but I wanted to say, because I know that you're doing some work, does the work ever end? What does healthy look like for anyone, and particularly for you?
I don't think it ever ends. Like
Okay.
you, I think we said it earlier. Maybe we said it during this taping, that it's an ongoing process. Like, it's never ending. It's always work that's going to need to be done. And the example that you used earlier about we were talking about your embarrassment with your phobias, how the embarrassment didn't last as long as it used to. That's growth. Who's to say it whatever. And the thing is, it's okay if it doesn't ever go away. Like,
you probably won't, girl.
You know what I mean? Like, that's okay. Some people believe that, like, healing, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like healing is a journey. I believe that learning is a journey. Success it's all a journey. It's not a destination. Nobody's there. You might not respond as intense as you might have responded before. That's growth. And it's probably still areas where, it might minimize, or you might be triggered more for, at one point in your life than the next. Who's to say? But it doesn't. My point is like, it's a process, and to be okay with the fact that, you're going to have some stuff. We all going to have some stuff to work on. Yep. And it just goes back to the old faithful of, nobody's perfect. And I feel like everybody says that, but nobody really, I guess, understands the gravity of it, because if nobody's perfect, I feel like we'd be a little bit more patient with each other and have a little bit more compassion too.
Yeah. And with ourselves.
Yeah.
With ourselves. Like, sometimes I think I expect of myself what I would not nearly expect from somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
or even say some things to ourselves that we wouldn't say to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. So that's what I work on. And I want to put up another comment. And that question is still open for any of you who are watching. Tell us one thing that you really love about yourself. Not that you want to fix, not that you will love about yourself when X, Y, and Z, something that you love about yourself right now. While you do that, while you all are brave enough to think about putting that one thing, and I hope you will. This came from Harriet. Harriet says, "Thank you so much for this crucial talk. I will stop criticizing myself and will definitely use the refutal statements and will give meditation a go." Come on, Harriet. Come on, Harriet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love that. Good, Harriet. So I don't know that I meditate. I daydream. So maybe that's a form of meditation.
It is. It's like escaping
daydream.
The current moment,
Yeah. I do a lot of daydreaming about where I'm going to be, where I want to be, what I want. When I'm talking negatively to myself, I notice it almost right away now.
Yeah.
So last night when I was like having my full-on meltdown, and my poor 11-year-old is trying to console me, okay? It was terrible. I was just really embarrassed. And so right away, what I wanted to do was call my neighbor and apologize and tell her I was embarrassed. But then I was like, first of all, let me go to sleep.
Yeah, right.
Let me do that.
You worried about consoling them.
Yes. And you know what? She didn't put that pressure on me anyway.
Yeah, right.
She wasn't even thinking about, girl, what is wrong with you? First of all, like, that's not my personality to leave in the way that I left. So she knew something was up. And so when I had my wits about myself this morning, I texted her and I said, "Listen, I'm so sorry for the way I bolted on you last night." And she was like, "As soon as I saw your face, I knew what was up." So surrounding yourself with people that you are safe with.
Yeah.
Is critical. If you're hanging out with people, whether they are your friends or your family or clients, if you're hanging out with people who make you feel bad about being yourself, stop. Get rid of them people. Get rid of them. I don't care if it's your mammy. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's not good for us. It's not. It's, especially when you're trying to work through something, to have somebody always tearing down the work you're trying to do yourself, not helpful. So, man, when I tell you that my circle is small and it's really a dot, it's that way on purpose, because I just need people to understand how I am and who I am and be okay with that. You know, I change over time, you change over time. Hopefully they will change over time. And it's all good.
Yeah.
So I love that you said it's a journey.
Yep.
So tell everybody right now, because again, you're going to have people who never go to therapy, right? Tell people one thing that they can do today. Just one thing, and you can have a second to think about it because I'm putting you on the spot. What's one thing we can do today to help us to feel fine about, I'm not saying ecstatic about, but one thing we can do today to help us to be fine about where we are today?
I think this exercise helps me when I do it, is writing out your positive attributes and accomplishments, things that you've done, you know, because sometimes we discredit our efforts and discredit our work, and don't really put too much thought about it because you go on to the next, you know, goal or, you know, next thing. I think really writing like a list of appreciation of what you appreciate, things that you appreciate about yourself, or things that you've accomplished, you know, thus far. I think that can help kind of shift, you know,
I like that.
things. Yeah.
And I think that is an exercise for everybody. That might not be easy to do. Again, because we're quick to point out the things that we want to change. It takes some careful thought to consider the things that you really like about yourself. So I really love that. So everybody, if you do one thing today that's good for yourself, that will help propel you into the next week, to the next few weeks, to the next few months, write down 3 or 4 things that you love about yourself right now. And then put that list somewhere. Put it on your mirror. You know, I don't care, crumple it up and put it under your pillow. So every morning you take that thing out and uncrumple it so you remember. I think that's really good advice. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah. So we all have a testimony, and I'm pretty sure we all have gotten through something, and that's worth celebrating. You know, we want to minimize those things, like, oh, I should do that. You know, like, no, could have decided not to. You know, but you did. So that's something to worth celebrating.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to put up your email address, because I will tell you that I had a lot of people that asked about my pictures after you took them. So I was so happy with them. And just, again, I've been fortunate to work with photographers who have always been just like stellar people. But this was so special to me, to be able to work with you after seeing the work that you had done for other people. And so I just want to make sure that I share your email. People can get in touch with you. And then, you know, I don't let any of my guests go without getting in their business for at least a second. I won't go too deep, okay? But tell me what you do for fun.
What I do for fun?
Do you have fun, girl?
Honestly, you know, because COVID, I really haven't been doing what I usually do. I love traveling. Like, traveling is my thing, and I haven't really been doing too much of that lately. But traveling, like, that is like my go-to thing for fun. Like, these last.
So when you're able to travel, what's the destination that you want to go to? Like, if we were not in COVID right now, if everybody was healthy and, you know, God willing, we're moving to that place right now, if people will stay the hell out of Miami, folks.
Right.
Hello. But if we weren't dealing with everything we're dealing with right now, what would be your destination? Where would you want to go?
I'm craving water, so probably like St. Martin.
Ooh, look at you. Yeah.
Last time I went there was 2019, November, when me and my family went together. Like, that water was beautiful. Like, it was just absolutely beautiful. Like, just the extras, you know, just really every day, just go to the beach. That's it, all day. All you had to have is your bathing suit. Like, that was it. Honestly, like, that would be like my ideal destination. Or, you know, Sedona, Arizona is beautiful.
Yes. I'm told, and that's someplace that I want to go, like
Yes.
this year. So I'm planning on a trip to Yellowstone,
Okay.
with my
Yeah.
family. But me and my husband have been talking about Sedona. One of his very best friends lives in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking about like going to Arizona, but making sure that we see Sedona while we're there.
Make sure you go to Sedona. Seriously, like when you want to see God, like in
What
nature.
people tell me, yeah.
Yes, like
Yeah.
the mountains are absolutely beautiful. Like I don't know.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Know what else I'm looking forward to? I have been really thinking in my mind, because I'm a daydreamer, about all the places that I want to go on a girls' trip with women who I love and admire. And I think we got to get on a trip when it's safe. You
Yes,
know, we got
I
to
was
get on a
so
girls' retreat.
down.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I'll be so
Water,
down.
sand, food,
Yes.
food, cocktails, medicinal, whatever you like. Okay.
Right.
Going for it on girls
Yes.
weekend,
Yeah.
girls week. I don't know. That's something we need to think
I'm
about.
so down. Put me down.
But thank you
I'm
so
there.
much for being here
No,
today.
thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I appreciate the platform to be able to talk about just these things that I'm just passionate about in general.
Yeah,
And
you
to
are.
have an exchange with someone that finds the value in that as well. Like I really appreciate that.
I do find the value in it. So, and thank you for just uplifting me today, because I was downtrodden when we got on this preliminary chat before we went live, y'all. I was in tears. I'm not lying. So thank you so much for just like really uplifting my spirit today too, because I really needed that, and I appreciate you.
Aw, thank you.
Don't do it. 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 So everybody, thank you so much for being here today. I don't know who's on next Sunday. I don't remember, but listen, if I'm back next Sunday, it's going to be good. So make sure you join us next Sunday. You choose Sundays, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you then. Have a great week, everybody.